Pete, this is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Talon Mix. It is a Smallville recap podcast. I'm Brian, here as always with my pal, Zach. Zach, we did it. We're at the end of another season.
I mean, it's pretty amazing to think about that you and I have recapped 3 seasons of this fucking show to no one. Just into the vacuum of space. Before I forget, it's going to be kind of awkward listening to Pete every single episode now that he's gone.
I know, I did have that thought of like, ooh. But, I am happy on some level that, he lives on throughout the show.
Thanks, Pete.
Thanks
for not being on the show anymore.
It's, really Chloe should be saying thanks, Pete, because then just like Chloe really gets to come into her own.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete. I get way more lines now. I get to become Clark's confidant soon.
Right. It's Chloe really consumes Pete's job and more. Which I feel like they didn't know what.
It was like the corporation going like, oh, we don't need 2 people. We just need 1 person for those jobs. 1 person can do both jobs.
That's pretty much. That's pretty. I refuse to believe that didn't like fundamentally happen in the writers' room. Of like, oh, we don't need both of them. And it in fact makes it like the amount of like wrestling you have to do for these 2 characters to be in scenes together is like makes it harder to use either of them, if that makes sense.
Well, especially as they move away from Chloe being a Clark possible love interest, which they gradually kind of do, then it's like, of course, she has to take the Pete role or she's obsolete, because they don't give her,
Right.
And I think Allison Mack, aside from being just a great human being, is just like a much better actress,
Yes. I guess there's also, I think in theory, on paper, it makes sense that, there could be some interesting tension on the friend level that Chloe doesn't know Clark's secret, and Pete does. Like, there can be tension there. The problem is anytime you're going to make that tension, why wouldn't it just be Lana,
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Anytime you're going to do that kind of butting heads, of course you make it Lana because you want Clark to have googly eyes.
Yes. And also, like, they're not like bending over backwards to have a lot of Chloe Pete scenes. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Just the 2 of them.
Right.
That's not pulling in the eyeballs probably on WB.
So we, as you probably guessed, we're talking about the season 3 finale, Covenant, tonight./Of course, I guess next show will be our season 3 recap and awards ceremony. Look forward to that. Hopefully live at twitch.tv/goblinvoice. But check more details to that on our Discord. You can find our Discord link at talonmix.show.
Can we just do that Tuesday live instead of Sunday live?
I think we could do that. I don't see why we couldn't do that.
Because Sunday would be a tough turnaround probably to come up with the categories and all that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's plan for that.
Okay.
So it's late here on the East Coast. We got a late start. We missed our recording date, our usual recording day where we're kind of doing a makeup pickup. I got to get this thing out tomorrow. So we're going to do a real trunicated what we've been watching. Zach, if you watched anything good this week?
I've been watching the election results fly in.
It's not to get too into it, but it's amazing how bad things are when like, well, we didn't get smoked.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't a red wave after all. They only kind of took control.
No, they still got the things, but not as bad as we thought it would happen.
Well, they got the House. They might not get the Senate, and that is worth celebrating for sure. I mean, it is in Oregon. It's a bit of a relief because this is the closest we've ever come to electing a Republican governor in my lifetime.
Yeah,
they lost
wow.
by a fraction of a point.
We had our Republican governor did surprisingly well too.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just like no one's happy with anyone. I think is the
yeah. Yep. So looking forward to more of this every 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
It's not going to get better.
I miss the days when I did not pay attention to the midterms. But
remember that?
Now I'm an adult. And I have to. Yeah, so I've just been obsessively checking my phone every hour.
Right.
Aside from that, the only thing I watched this week really was I watched the director's cut of Dr. Sleep.
Oh, I have not seen it yet. I liked the book, actually, but I haven't seen the movie.
Well, you haven't seen the movie?
I haven't.
So I got the DVD or the Blu-ray from the library during Halloween season. Didn't get around to watching it, but I decided I still kind of want to watch it anyway.
I am curious. I just haven't gotten around to it.
I saw Dr. Sleep in the theater, and I think once when it came on HBO Max, the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
And I quite enjoyed it. I would give it a B.
Good enough.
Definitely. It does an interesting thing where it attempts to be both faithful to Kubrick and King at the same time.
Not easy.
No, and I don't know if it totally pulls it off, but it's interesting to watch it try.
Sure.
The thing is, I've heard from multiple people that the director's cut was a vast improvement. Like, heard it on podcasts, read it, heard people say it. And you know how skeptical I am about director's cuts.
Yes.
I think they're usually not better.
And for the record, a lot of times, like DVD releases of director's cuts, they aren't. Ridley Scott has come out at one point and was like, it's not really a director's cut of Alien. They just wanted to sell new DVDs.
Right.
Like that was a thing to slap on the, no, my cut is the theatrical cut of Alien.
Well, they started saying extended cut.
Right.
Back in, with DVDs. Cause I think that was like the director's like, I didn't have anything to do with this. But anyway, yeah, I'm very skeptical of them, but so many people said it was so much better. I watched it, Brian. The director's cut, 3 hours long.
Oh boy.
The theatrical is like 2.5, so it's already pretty long. 3 hours long. I could not tell you what they added in there. And it was not better. It was just longer and slower. So I don't know why anyone would think that was better, that there was something missing, because I could not tell you what was added.
Yeah, huh.
But apparently there was a half hour of things added. Must have been a bunch of little things.
That's likely what it is. And it's so funny of like a lot of people I think equate more to better.
Right.
Of just, of course it's better. There's more of it. I think it's interesting. I think Lord of the Rings, the extended editions, are largely considered like the versions of the movie. And that's so ridiculous because the theatrical cuts are unilaterally better.
Oh, see, I've never seen the extended cut because I'm like, I don't need to see a longer version of these
Straight
movies.
Up, you do not. If I'm going to blanket statement that's going to get me yelled at, and it's fine, I'll take it. I think it's totally fine. I have seen and enjoyed the extended editions. Do not get me wrong. I like those movies, and sometimes more of them is fun. If you insist that they are better, you just don't know a lot about movies, and that's okay. That's okay. But you don't know how movies work.
It does seem like a lot of people who love those extended cuts are big fans of the books, and they're like, they have more of the books.
It has more of the things, and so that is like, nope. Those theatrical
books aren't movies. Turns out
they are 1,000,000% different art forms. Period. They're just different art forms.
Yes. Generally, the more faithful a movie is to a book, it doesn't mean the better it is. Generally, it goes the other way, actually, in my experience.
It's, I think, arguably one of the most like literal adaptations of a work of all time is Zack Snyder's Watchmen. Like panel for panel, identical. And like somehow, for such a literal adaptation, misses the point entirely.
Right. Well, because the guy making it just did not understand what that comic was actually about.
Right.
Like, or at least not in my interpretation. Like, he took everything on the surface.
Right, incredibly on the surface. Alan Moore, I think, don't ask Alan Moore questions. He's a cranky old man who doesn't want to be asked questions.
No, he's angry about everything.
But like because like someone was bothering him, so he was recently just like, if you like superheroes, you're a baby. You're a fascist baby. And you know what? I appreciate. Leave the man alone. I think the only like motion picture media he enjoys is The Simpsons. That's it. Just leave the man alone and let him watch The Simpsons.
Oh, does he enjoy The Simpsons? Well,
he is a outspoken Simpsons fan.
Good for him.
I believe he's been on The Simpsons a couple, or at least once.
Oh, wow. I mean, who hasn't been on The Simpsons?
Right. We might have been on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Anything else?
No, what'd you watch?
I watched Terrifier 2.
Yes, and for our listeners, Brian texted me that he had watched it, and he was intimating how disgusting it was. And I asked him to try to explain over text because I was never going to watch this movie. And he sent me a text that is haunting my very dreams. It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever read on my phone.
Terrifier 2 has, I think, and I don't want to like oversell it because like ultimately it's prosthetics and corn syrup, right? But it's, I think, one of the like worst, most detestable, like just bad taste kills I have ever seen in a slasher movie, in a horror movie. Just hauntingly perverse, unnecessarily fetishistic, like just gnarly, like truly hauntingly, like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I didn't even see it. I just read it from your text, and I am haunted by it.
So with that said, I liked the movie. I think if you liked Terrifier 1, you probably liked Terrifier 2. If you didn't like Terrifier 1, don't go near Terrifier 2.
Right. If you watch Terrifier 1 and you watch Terrifier 2, I think you deserve what you get. Right?
Yes.
You like.
Yes. I don't imagine you'll be like, sort of like, now this is too far.
I was with you until this.
Yeah. I will say, I do think and the director is going for something here, and like it's kind of supposed to be dirty and cheesy, and like the acting's not good, the story's not very good. It's all the special effects and like kind of this performance from this slasher villain character, which is very intriguing, and every time he's on screen, it's electric and terrifying and terrible. I do want to see what this director has up his sleeve with a budget that I assume he's going to get after this, of like, this movie made money comparatively.
Right.
Considering it didn't have a major distributor, considering it was, I believe, fully like crowdfunded on Kickstarter, and doesn't have an MPAA rating. It's
how much did it cost? Do you know to make?
I think $200,000.
That's nothing.
No, that's literally nothing. And for it to it made like $7 million at the box office, which is fucking crazy. Yeah. Usually, like I said, no major distributor. It's individual theaters, usually playing it one showing a day, late at night.
Wow.
But it's got this, and no marketing. no official marketing. It's just purely word of mouth. Everyone goes like, this thing's fucked up.
How did you watch it?
It is available on a streaming service called Screambox. And it's new. It's from Bloody Disgusting, which is a horror website. They have it. You can, if you have Amazon Prime. I signed up for a free trial of Screambox and then canceled Screambox. I'm a Shudder guy.
Yeah, you're firmly in the Shudder camp.
Yes. So Terrifier 2, if you're into that. But my larger point was I want to see what else he has up his sleeve. I'm disappointed that it might just be Terrifier 3. Like, I'm kind of, there's a gimmick here, for lack of a better word, and if like your next thing is just like, how do you outdo Terrifier 2, like that's already getting old to me.
Right, yeah. It's like if John Carpenter just kept making Halloween movies.
Right. I'm a little like, what else you got? That said, I have kind of like, well, I guess to that point, my wife and I in the last like 2 years watched all of the Saw movies. And, like, there's some fun to be had, but they all blend together, you know, because it's just set piece, set piece, set piece, set piece.
Right.
And, like, if that's all this is going to be, I think that's a shame, because I do think this director is Damien Leone, I believe is his name. I do think he's talented. For what, bare minimum, he got this movie made.
I don't deny there's skill there. I haven't seen it. I'm sure if this many people are flocking to see it, there's skill. It's the subject matter that I'm good.
Yes.
I'm all set.
It is surprisingly like considering like it is shot on digital. Like, of course it is. It's you heard the budget. But like what he does with it is impressive. Of like, oh, if you had a couple $1 million, I think you'd make a very good movie. Of like, I think he understands everything he's subverting with the choices he's making. Like, a lot of horror should be don't show things, imply things. This is a full fucking middle finger, and like, I'm going to show you everything. Right. But like, I think he's doing it and intentionally like, ha 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 ha, I did the thing you're not supposed to do.
Well, we'll find out when he makes a movie that's not a Terrifier movie. We'll find out.
Right.
If he's got another trick up his sleeve, or if it's just the one.
Yeah, don't know.
The one move. So hopefully he makes another movie, and
like I said, I said, I hope it's not Terrifier 3, but I'm sure it will be.
Yeah.
Zach, should we move on to Smallville?
What? Yes. Let's. I'm gonna get some water though.
Great. And we're back. This week we watched Covenant, the 22nd and final episode of the 3rd season of Smallville, the 66th overall. It aired May 19th, 2004.
This is Brian. This is the last episode that I watched when my first time that I was watching the show, like as it was happening. I didn't watch it again regularly until Vancouver.
Wow.
So yeah. So I watched this one, and then I just stopped watching, and then I watched the 100th episode because I heard it was going to be a big deal.
Got it.
And then I didn't watch again until Vancouver.
Hundo would have been season 5. That's for 22.
That is a major character's death in the 100th episode.
Right. I gotta say, for a season finale, I was kind of surprised. This is lower key than we're used to.
Yeah, I do think this is the weakest of the finales we've watched so far.
I agree. This could have just been an episode.
Right. There's still some really good stuff in there,
I agree.
Of course. And we'll talk about that. But I do think there was some lazy writing there too.
I don't quite know what happened here. Like, why is this like this? You know,
it's a little sloppy. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, a young woman walks out of the woods naked and uses super strength to total a car, killing the passengers right at the gate, baby.
Oh man. Naked girl and a car crash in the first 5 minutes.
I was considering what we were just talking about. I mistakenly in this opening thought this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, no, I wrote down finales, baby, with an exclamation point.
This is
it's a good car wreck too.
Yes.
She flipped that car over.
Yes. This is Adrian Palicki?
Yeah, she was in Friday Night Lights as Tyra.
Yes.
She also played Wonder Woman in was it a pilot or was it a...
It was a pilot. It was David E. Kelly's and it was a pilot. You're right. Oh, that was around when we were in Vancouver, I think.
Yeah, I think it was afterwards, but
maybe.
Because she was on Friday Night Lights when we were in Vancouver.
Right. I believe the idea was that it was going to be a half like legal drama. They were going to focus on because it was David E. Kelly, so like they were going to focus on the legal stuff, and then also she was Wonder Woman.
Oh well, that sounds fucking great. I would watch the shit out of that.
I think that's basically She-Hulk, but I'm not.
I was going to say,
isn't
that She-Hulk?
I've also there is a film called Pop Star, not the Lonely Island film Pop Star, that is actually one of my favorite movies ever.
Great movie.
There's a movie just called Pop Star, starring R.I.P. Mr. Aaron Carter, who passed away this past week. But my wife and I were stoned and watching that movie because it was on HBO Max, and we were like, we gotta watch this. It's a cheap straight to VHS like. Aaron Carter is a pop star, that isn't Aaron Carter, and gets sent to a regular high school. And
oh my gosh,
Adrian
what
Palicki,
a terrible thing.
Adrian Palicki is a bully in that movie. And which it was we're watching this, and I'm not expecting to see anyone in this movie that I've ever heard of before. And I lean forward. I'm stoned out of my mind. I'm like, is that the girl from Friday Night Lights? And then my wife screamed, and it was. That might have been around this time too. That's fucking funny. When did that movie come out? Pop Star, Aaron. Pop Star will be 2005. This is 2004, so Pop Star would be after her Smallville appearance.
Of course, they saw her work here, and they were like, "She was good as a naked person." So that car crash pulls us ahead of season 2 by one car crash.
Wow, we did it.
Yeah, we're still way behind season 1, but that's we're trending in the right direction again.
And this is only the beginning of the episode. Maybe we'll make it to season 1.
Yeah, exactly.
So the naked girl then walks to the Kent farm and greets Clark by name.
Fantastic reaction by Tom Welling when he opens the door and sees a naked girl there. He does like a whoa. And I'm not being sarcastic. I know we usually give him shit for his faces, but he really does a look like it's very genuine. Good job, Tom Welling.
She introduces herself as Kara from Krypton. Is that where the intro goes? Is that where the intro comes in?
Yes.
Close enough. We did it.
Kara. So fans are like, "Oh, it's Supergirl!" Fuck yeah!
Right. We are hitting the notes here. Supergirl or Kara will become a series regular later in the show.
Yes, in season 7. Yeah.
That's the last season I watched, and there's some real writer strikey episodes in season 7.
In my memory, the first half of season 7 is brutal, and then the last half they really stick the landing on it because it's the end of Lionel, it's the end of Lex, it's the end of Kristen Crook, so they really stick the landing, but. Yeah, there's some rough batches.
Season 7, I remember coming home from Vancouver, and I'm on my couch. I'm going to watch an episode live, and my father sits down on the couch, and the look on his face of you like this fucking show, a genuine he didn't mean to be mean about it, but it was a very genuine something fucking wrong with you.
You don't understand, Dad. I was in Metropolis.
Okay. So she claims to have come from the caves and tells the Kents that she's here to take Kal-El home to answer all of his questions. She becomes angry when Jonathan enters the conversation and disappears when Lex arrives.
Well, she's angry because Jonathan is skeptical that she's telling the truth, which is, of course he is.
It's a very common shape. Kara's a very common name, Clark.
Naked girls always come to the door, Clark. It's very normal. And then Lex, when he enters the scene, Lex just does that like 2 knocks and opens the door at the same time thing, like Clark.
Which everyone's doing it at his fucking house. Why not?
That's true. Yeah, I guess like no. Clark always barges in on his shit, so that's fair.
Clark offers to testify at Lionel's bond hearing that he ordered the doctor to increase the voltage even when the doctor warned it could have injured Lex. Lex guesses that Clark hid the knowledge of Lionel's murder of his parents. Clark explains he was concerned for Lex's fate, and Lex accepts that.
And Lex is like, how did you see my dad do that? And Clark's like, I snuck in and watched him. That's all he says. Doesn't elaborate. Right. He's going to testify in court, Brian. He's going to have to get more specific than I snuck in.
I didn't even think of that.
To the secret room in the mental institution.
Hey, under oath, Clark Kent, how'd you do that?
I snuck in and I saw it and then I left and no one saw me. They're going to be like, did you just make this whole fucking thing up? Because
I was randomly thinking about Superman the movie, the original Christopher Reeve film, or Richard Donner film, if you will. But when Superman is being interviewed by Lois Lane and he's just like, and I never lie. Yeah, bitch.
Anymore. When I was a kid, I had to lie a lot.
It was kind of my whole thing. It's maybe why Gene Hackman is the way he is.
Drove people insane.
I also gotta say, I remember. I don't know if it was something to do with like if it's because I was younger. If it's because I was watching like the DVDs, I was just mainlining them, just episode after episode. I remember Clark and Lex's fractured relationship feeling more tragic and that like hitting me harder than it does now. I don't know if that's because I'm an adult. I don't know if that's because I'm doing it week to week and it's just dissipating more, but I'm not feeling that like, oh no, be friends.
Yeah, I mean, I think there will still be moments that will resonate that way, but yeah, definitely this time through, it's much more like, God, Clark's fucking annoying and Lex is a creep.
Right. Maybe it's the adult perspective that is like, no, you should not be friends.
Yeah, no,
this relationship is inappropriate.
It is. Inappropriate, and it's just a big headache for both parties.
What are either of you getting from this?
I do find the Lex Lionel stuff tragic still.
Oh no, the Lex Lionel. No, let's be clear. When John Glover is on screen, this show is working.
Yes, and in that Lex is, craves what Clark has. That's really strong, and that Lex is trying so hard to be a good person like Clark, but because of his father, he can't. That's all really strong.
Yes, and I think there's some good stuff coming. I remember.
Yes,
I know this is a Christmas episode that I'm very excited to revisit a certain Christmas episode that got me.
We got to time it so it's close to Christmas. Like we got to figure it out.
Yeah. All right. So even from jail, Lionel expects FBI agent Loader to continue investigating Clark. Loader refuses, believing that Lionel is powerless. Gotta say this about FBI agent Loader. Sorry, did you have a thought?
No, go ahead. You might hit the same thing.
I don't. His face leaves my brain the second he is not on my television screen. I could have who the fuck is this guy?
That's something of a skill.
I feel like I really. Oh right, he's a guy. I guess.
My note was he has this open conversation with Lionel about what a dirty FBI agent he is in front of like 2 security guards at this prison he just was talking openly about it. Now maybe that's because he knows he has such a forgettable face. And they're not gonna know. They're gonna be like, oh, I don't know what he looked like.
Yeah, can you point him out on fucking shit?
No, absolutely not.
Or is that just how powerful he is that he can talk about it in front of security guards?
Yes, he has everyone.
Yeah, no, and truly, I'm assuming this is the last time we see him. I will literally never think of this man again. Probably after today. I don't think I'll ever think of this man literally ever again. He was on my television multiple times, and I have no permanent memory of his face.
How freaky would it be if he barged into that room behind you right now? Like,
I'd hate that.
But you'd be like, who are you? I've never seen you before in my life.
I mean, yes, that is probably what would happen if someone just opened my door and was like, hey. I would not... I can tell you in all honesty, I would not be like, oh, you're FBI agent Loader from Smallville.
Like, yeah. I'd be like, Brian, I think there's the guy.
Oh.
From Smallville. You're like, oh, cool, sit down.
If FBI agent Loader wants to come on our podcast, we're around.
But he
has to come to us because I will not remember him to ask.
Please, if you do, please identify yourself.
Kara takes Clark flying to the cave and says, there's a flying scene here, but it's
no
just...
tights, some flights is what they should have said.
They really work around this flying thing a couple of times. Like you see, if Kara is doing the one flying,
right,
and she's holding Clark.
Clark is asleep floating above his bed. That's different.
Oh, yeah. Or if he's on Red K, it doesn't count.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Red K, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So, like, this was you could have just not said this was a rule. Like, you were the ones who made a big deal out of this.
Yeah. No tights.
It's kind of a stiff, funny scene of like, it's not the full like Superman flight. It's kind of, they just sort of like stand straight up and go up.
Isn't that like what Lois and Clark do, or Lois and Superman do in the movie Superman? Doesn't he kind of like lift her up?
I don't remember. I know like there's the whole like sequence in the sky, but they're in kind of more of like a magical fairy Peter Pan-y.
Maybe I'm thinking Superman Returns.
That does happen in Superman Returns, which, man, is a movie I am curious to revisit.
Is that going to be part of our rewatch? Probably should.
Let's see how we feel.
Yeah.
I desperately don't want to do Man of Steel.
Oh no, I was thinking Superman Returns because it kind of takes the Donner.
That's true.
It's kind of in that continuity, supposedly.
Right.
Even though they're so young.
Right. Okay, so Kara takes Clark flying to the cave and says that she's been in the cave since the meteor shower, waiting until the time is right. That's weird.
Yeah. Don't hang out in cave walls.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
They've been in this cave the whole time? Were you there when that guy fell?
Yeah, you could have helped him.
When that guy at that rave broke his fucking neck, you were just in the walls chilling?
But were you in the walls chilling next to the creepy bug thing that was like dosing people with the poison that made them jump off of scaffolding?
Hey, Kara.
Or...
Hey, what the fuck? Clark declines her offer to enter the passage to find out everything. Lex visits Lionel in jail. Lionel reveals to Lex that he was diagnosed 2 years ago with a degenerative liver disease and nothing can save him. But Lex doesn't believe him. Is this possibly to write Lionel out, if need be?
I don't think so.
Okay.
There's no way they're like, oh, maybe we can write Lionel out in this show.
Does John Glover maybe? I don't know how many of these I got left in me.
So this fucking scene, this is a great scene. First of all, the establishing shot shows the prison, and there's a big sign out front that just says U.S. Penitentiary. Like the writers could not be bothered to come up with a fake prison name.
Well, then how do we know what it was at a glance?
And Lionel is such a scumbag in this scene. He's
baby,
talking about his illness, and he's trying to get like, Lex, please don't let me spend my last days in prison. And Lex, it's great. Lex walks up and then like takes his hand through the bars, and Lex says, Dad, it might have been more convincing if there was a string quartet in the corner playing Barber's Requiem. Just the ultimate fuck you. Oh, so good.
That's the best. The next day, Kara tells Jonathan that he broke the covenant and reveals that in return for the power he received to bring back Clark, he promised to return Clark to his father, Jor-El. That's a good... I think there was clearly we knew that there was going to be some sort of trade-off, and it was clear like, we'll figure out what that is when we get there.
Right, yeah.
This is what... they, it was time to come up with something, and this was it. I've done that in my home Dungeons and Dragons games. I'm glad you're doing it on your television show.
22 episodes, Brian. This one, more than the other two seasons, this one does feel like, fuck, how do we wrap this up?
Yeah.
How do we?
There's a couple of, there really were a couple of storylines this season, and there are a couple like in the others, don't get me wrong, but there were a lot like this time that were like storylines with like losing momentum because it kind of feels in the writers room like, I don't want to be doing this anymore.
Right, the whole Boone from Lost thing kind of petered out. Yeah.
It's a lot of, are you guys enjoying this? Because we're not.
Which is odd because I felt this might be the strongest season we've had so far in our recaps.
There were a lot of...
The second half, especially up until, the last one, was really good string of episodes.
Right.
5 or 6 really good ones in a row.
Yeah, that is true. It's interesting. Yeah, fuck, you're not wrong.
Like, I don't know. The first half was rough, though, now that I think about it. But.
Is there something to, like, individual episodes over, like, season storylines? Like, larger season arc was weird, but, like, individual episodes were pretty good?
Yeah, because season 2, I think, probably was, as far as story arcs, was better.
Right.
Yeah.
So Clark and Martha are appalled, and Jonathan stammers that he didn't believe it would be so soon. As Loader listens in, Kara senses him and kills him by turning his car and everything in it to dust. That's a car wreck, baby.
Car wreck.
Does it count as a wreck if it's just been vaporized?
Yes, because it's not drivable. Absolutely.
You can't drive that dust. Martha is upset that Jonathan made a deal and kept it a secret from her. Sorry that I didn't tell you all about my deal with our adopted son, Space Dad.
It was that scene between Martha and Johnny K was a little sweaty. It was like a little like, we need conflict here, and they're just. They didn't sell me on it.
No.
They didn't sell me on the conflict.
Agreed.
Because Martha would be like, yeah, I understand why you did that. We needed to get our son back.
Right. This next scene is pretty silly too. Jonathan takes a teacup to Chloe and asks her to run a check of Kara's fingerprints.
He comes in and he says, so this is the famous torch. And she says, yeah, a little less glamorous than you imagine. Actually, no, for a high school newspaper run by a child, this is more than adequate. This is exactly what I imagined.
I will say about this scene, Johnny K is selling. You almost don't realize how stupid this scene is because John Schneider is so good in it.
Yeah.
Of like, imagine like a dad going to a high school, finding a high school and like, can you get me like fingerprints, child?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah, and she's like, yeah, I'll call my guy right now. It's like, Chloe, you have a guy, right? A fingerprint guy?
What doesn't Chloe have a guy for? So while Lana arrives at the farm and asks Clark to take her to the airport the next day, she asks him to tell her whether he has to tell her whatever he has to tell her before she's gone. That's what the last episode ended on. He was like, I have to tell you something. And then he's like, have a good time in Paris.
Yeah, well, he was going to tell her his secret, but then Pete got beat up, and he was like, oh, I can't put her in danger, so then he just lied to her again.
Which, how much more danger can she... Once again, kidnapped twice.
She is constantly in life-threatening danger. So in this scene, Lana's like, please, I know you're going to tell me something else. Can you just tell me? And Clark opens his mouth. He's going to start telling... He's like, Lana... And then Lana goes, who's that? Because she sees Kara across the farm. And then Clark's like, oh, that's so-and-so. There is no way if Clark is opening his mouth to tell her a secret, she's like, who's that?
Right.
What's that shiny thing over there?
She can wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep going.
You were saying...
Which is also funny of like, Clark, you were maybe gonna tell her. and then it's like, she's relevant to this. So it would have been easy about that. But no, he just instinctively goes into a lie.
He's like, oh no, she saw something that broke my concentration. I have to go back.
Yeah.
I can't tell her.
If he was gonna tell her, I suppose.
Right.
Lana sees Kara, and Clark explains that she is his cousin from California. Lana suggests that she should find someone else to drive her if he has visitors, but Clark assures her that even though it will be hard for him to see her go, he wants to be there for her. She seems pleased and promises that they will talk in the car on the way to the airport. Kara warns him again that even though Lana loves him, their love is not meant to be. Everyone he knows will eventually betray him, Kara says. But the love that they will know will be like nothing else. Kara tells Clark...
Wait, is she supposed to be actually his cousin in this version?
I can't tell. So it's... The wiki says that... No, wait, maybe not. Okay, the wiki says she's... I do not... So Clark says that it's her cousin to Lana. It's his cousin to Lana.
Right, as a lie. Okay, she's not identified as his cousin really, though.
Right.
That
The real Kara is.
Right, and there is no romantic tension between him and the real Kara.
Right.
So that's...
Great. Smallville, you're clear of the incest bullet.
They got something right. Oh no, there's another miscarriage in the show. Shit.
Okay. Kara tells Clark that they are the last Kryptonians and they must bow chicka bow wow preserve their race.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Clark receives a package from Lionel with a key. Lex and Chloe review medical records, but Lex is determined... were you going to say something?
If you get a package from Lionel in that situation, there's no way you open it, right?
No, it's your dog's head.
Don't open that package.
No.
As soon as you open it, he has you.
Right.
He's the devil. You know, there's no good that can come from opening that package.
You have X-ray vision.
Like, you know, there's Lionel obviously has an ulterior motive with whatever he's sending you. Yeah, Clark, come on, babe, let's not.
Lionel's not doing something unless it favors Lionel. Period.
Of course not. No.
Okay. Lex and Chloe review medical records, but Lex is still determined that he and Chloe should send him to prison, and Chloe vows to testify no matter what, as Lionel has threatened her long enough. Clark.
Another sweaty scene.
Yep.
Another pretty sweaty scene. Because Chloe's like, at the beginning of the scene, she's like, I understand if you want to drop the case. I mean, he is your father, and he's dying. I'm like, what? No. Yeah. Chloe would be like, this guy's ruthless. I'm not. Fuck that. We're not backing down.
Yeah, man, we are. Oof.
Yeah,
sweaty's the right word. Yeah,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Clark confronts Lionel, who sends him to the room Lex has been using for his investigations of Clark.
Same fucking room, Brian.
Yep.
If you were going to have a secret room about your friend, and he had previously found out that you had a secret room about him, and you were like, okay, I'm done with the secret rooms, but you were going to do another one anyway, wouldn't you make it a different room?
Just so instead, he just fully was like, I'm done. I'm not done.
Yeah. Also, the picture of Clark is now the size of a wall in this room. It is the biggest picture you've ever seen of a human being. It is.
What purpose does that serve, Lex?
It's just like a giant candid of Clark. Like, you could have had the secret room without the giant picture of him.
It's at no point is like imagine, Zach, you came to my home. You opened up a door and I was like, oh, don't go in there. Beans. Even if I wasn't investigating you for superpowers, a giant wall-sized picture of you would take some explaining.
I was going to say, no, it's more like if I walked into your house, walked into that room, and there was like a small picture of me and a bunch of other relevant things to me. And I'm like, that's weird, Brian. Can you not do this? You're like, yeah, I'll get rid of it. And then the next year I come into your house and enter the room and there's more shit. Ooh. And it's like a bigger picture of me. It's like two movie posters worth of space of just my face.
You weren't supposed to see this.
What does Lex do in that room? He just like goes in there and stands and looks at the picture. There's not a chair in there.
It's also like it still has like the looping animation of him getting hit by the car. He's just like, ooh, like it's not from different angles or anything. It's just a looping animation.
Right. And you could have that on your computer and pull it up whenever you want to watch it. You don't have to just like, have it. It's playing on a loop when no one's there. This is waste of energy.
It's 2004, to be fair. We haven't invented climate change yet.
He has like a bunch of different things about Clark. And then just randomly from the ceiling, he has those, what are those metal balls that...
yeah, right.
the gravity, what are those called?
Oh, God, like those have nothing to do with anything. That she didn't just have anywhere else to put that.
No, it's just hanging from the ceiling. You just like put it in the Clark room.
Yeah, I'll find another spot for it later. The same thing I do right now with my child's nursery.
Dude, do the maids and stuff know that there's a Clark room? They're like, hey, do you want me to clean the Clark room? I mean the hall closet.
No. Do not go in there.
It is really, I mean, it's creepier than last time, that room.
Here's the thing. I think that's a great question. Because here's the thing. If the maids don't clean the Clark room, that means he cleans the Clark room, and there's no way he does that, right?
That's how badly he wants to be able to have a secret Clark room, is that he cleans it himself.
Maybe.
Maybe that's what he does in there. He's just like Windexing that picture.
Someday I'll find your secrets.
Brian, if I ever get rich enough to have a mansion, I'm going to make a secret Brian room, and I'll tell you about it, but it'll look identical to that with your giant picture up.
I did. You'll tell me about it, just not where it is. And so every time I'll just have to kind of be looking for it.
Like replaying, there will be like a computer image of like us walking to get pizza, just replaying in like Vancouver.
Nothing even happened here.
No. Oh, Lex.
Lex walks in and tries to explain. No!
No, he walks in with this line. He says, I could see how you would think all this is about you. Nice try, Lex. There's a wall-sized photo of me. You cannot gaslight your way out.
It's not what it looks like.
I could see how you might think all this is about you.
Look, I have a big weird Lana room too. Oh no.
I have rooms for all of my friends. Oh man.
Lex walks in and tries to explain that this room is about him and his countless brushes with death.
Then why is there a giant picture?
It's the big Clark picture that's the problem, Lex.
See, you might have been able to get away with it if not for the giant Clark picture. You really might have.
Deep down, I was like, I knew the picture was too much. Thought I kind of threw it together, but it was, God damn it, Lex.
He's like, but where else would I put this fucking picture than in my Clark room?
Look, what am I going to do? Get rid of the giant picture of Clark? Clark is going to want a giant picture of Clark?
eBay.
$10,000 lit up photo of teenager.
No, it's just the photo. Lights sold separately. Yeah.
Clark is extremely upset. He doesn't believe Lex and leaves, convinced that Lex has been his friend all this time just so he can investigate him.
He does accuse Lex of dishonesty, and while Lex has been dishonest, Clark can fuck right off.
Yeah, it's like, Clark, that's what you go to?
Dishonesty. Yeah, bud.
Yeah, bud.
That's a two-way street.
He is right. He is onto your shit.
Yeah. You can only, Brian, I'll just tell you right now, you can only gaslight me for so long before I create a secret room about you.
I think that is fair.
Yeah, so if you gaslight me for 3 years straight, I am going to create a secret room about you.
So you know what? All right, we official Talon Mix decision. Weird room, valid.
Weird room, valid. Picture.
Yeah, nothing.
The size of the picture is still a concern.
It's a photo on your desk would have been fine.
Or like maybe if you were in the photo with him, it would be a little less weird.
I'm really in the weeds on this picture. Guys, I know most of you haven't watched this episode of Smallville. It's a really big picture of Clark in a dark room.
Huge. It's huge. And I wonder what was that, like the set designer, the director, the writers, who was like, the room's not creepy enough. We need a picture of Clark.
Right. Is it okay, purely production set wise, is it the best way to quickly communicate to the audience that this is a Clark room? Is there a better way to do that? Right.
And like I was saying, if it weren't for that picture, Lex could maybe reasonably argue that the room wasn't about Clark, but
right.
But so they're like, no, we need a picture because it has to be overt.
Right.
I don't know. He had a picture of him last time, but it was like a normal size, like 8x10. This is bigger than my bookshelf. It is gigantic. Oh, we should on the Discord. We should put a picture of this fucking room.
Yes. I'm gonna go let my cat out real fast.
Okay.
Clark goes home to his loft where he tells his mother about Lex's betrayal. He is considering going with Kara when he suddenly remembers Lana. She took a shuttle to the airport.
Clark, you fuck up.
You
fucking asshole.
You
You have super speed, dipshit. You couldn't.
Dipshit.
You don't ever get to be late if you have super speed, by the way.
No. Clark arrives just in time to see her saying goodbye to Lex.
Yeah, but you know what, Clark? Why you don't get to feel betrayed like this? The implication in the scene is that Clark feels betrayed and thinks that Lana and Lex are something.
Right.
But they don't kiss or anything. He just gives her a hug and says goodbye. For all Clark knows, it's like a normal goodbye.
And you were gonna drive to the airport, and she had to take the bus.
Exactly. Yeah, you fucking forgot about her.
You fucked up so bad.
This is another lazy, sweaty moment in the show. It's like they're working real hard to make it seem like, oh, he feels betrayed, but I don't think he would in that circumstance from Lana.
It's right. It's like Clark would know how bad he beefed it.
Exactly.
You have no leg here to stand on.
No. I will say, when Lex is talking to Lana before Clark sees him, like Lex shows up to say goodbye at the airport, and he talks about coming to visit her in Paris. Lex, please do not visit a 17-year-old in Paris. Please don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it,
Don't
Lex.
do it.
Don't do it.
Do it. Hey, Lex, not a lot of good decisions this episode. You've got a giant... I'm not off this giant picture of one teenager. Clark is also a teenager.
What? Did Lex fucking go to Kinko's and was like, can you make it bigger? Please, it's got to be bigger than that. They're like, this is the biggest we can do it, man. No. Make two, and I'll tape them together.
Maybe he wanted it even bigger, and it was like, this will do for now.
It's like, I'm called to special order it.
Next time, it's going to be the whole wall. This fucking picture. Lana sees Clark and crosses the street to him, but he disappears without saying goodbye, and Lana finds a white rose that he was going to give her. Clark is late arriving at the courthouse. Late again, bitch.
And he's late, and he's in his red jacket, blue shirt outfit. He's in court.
Everyone is dressed up for court.
You couldn't throw on a suit. You have super
speed. And it's because there's a shot in a moment that they're real proud of.
Right.
But boy, diegetically within the fiction, it makes no fucking sense.
No. The judge would be like, get the fuck out of my courtroom until you put something on.
Yeah, especially in fucking Kansas.
Yeah. Hey, kid who says he snuck into secret room and mental institution without elaborating. Put a tie on.
Okay, so Clark is late arriving at the courthouse, and Lex worries that he has changed his mind. He arrives just in time. Lionel is denied bail, but Clark tells Lex that their friendship is over. And we get a wide shot of the courthouse, everyone in dark suits, and Clark walking away in his like Superman red jacket.
Yeah.
And it's, I get like clearly that's a thing, and they did that. Like that's a choice. Was it like a good choice?
It wasn't worth it.
No.
For me.
No. It doesn't like It's not an Clark moping away is not an especially like Superman-y shot.
No. I mean, there is a lot of location work in this episode. That was a cool location that they were at.
Yeah.
It looked like.
That must have been, I did not, while we were in Vancouver, go to the courthouse at any time, but I wonder if that was it.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a courthouse or if it was the train station or something.
Yeah, good point. It could have been a train station.
It was a place.
It was
a place. I forgot what I was going to say, so I guess it wasn't that important.
All right.
Oh, yes, Clark and Lex, their friendship is over, Brian, for at least 3 episodes.
We'll reset that, baby.
We're gonna reset it a bunch of times, and every time we reset it, it comes back a little weaker.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I've skipped around before. I've watched a handful. Like, there are a handful of episodes in the middle of every season that feel like they could be from any season.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
This show
Absolutely.
resets hard. There is
by design. I mean, especially when they're still in high school. That's
right.
Absolutely true. Yeah.
They're and you know what? I don't mind it. There is a default like Smallville episode.
Yep.
A status quo that we are constantly getting back to, and I feel like a lot of shows don't do a status quo as much anymore.
No, because they don't have to do 22.
Right. Back at the farm, Clark is still in anguish over Lex's betrayal and Lana's departure. Kara is there to comfort him and tempts him further by claiming that Lara's love lives on. Lara, of course, is his mother.
So Clark is despondent because everyone betrayed him, like she said, and he's like going to go with her into the wall or whatever. How many seasons are going to end with Clark being an emo boy and running away?
Most of them.
That's how last season ended. That's where we're headed here. It happens at least one more time, I can tell you.
I wonder, like, not just in Smallville, how many teen soaps of this genre end with that? Like,
with like a character like I'm leaving.
Yes,
leaving Dawson's Creek forever or whatever the fuck
happens in Buffy. I think a couple of times. Buffy usually dies rather than disappear, but interesting.
I mean, the seasons usually end with either Clark leaving by his own volition or being sent somewhere or captured somewhere.
Right.
Which I guess makes sense. What?
Oh, well.
Well, yeah. Hold your thought.
Funny you should mention that. Okay, so Clark says that he is ready. Chloe arrives at the farm and tells Jonathan that the fingerprints belong to Lindsay Harrison. Kara and Clark go to the caves to prepare to quote-unquote leave by joining hands and opening a fissure in the cave wall. Jonathan arrives at the caves to expose Jor-El's deception. I can't believe this is the... Like, man, this is the big finale? Like, this is the big...
Yeah.
Like, these are normally pretty action-packed. I really am curious what happened here. This will be interesting when they get there in Talkville. They're clearly, like, this episode, did you spend the money elsewhere? Like, was it just like, we'll just kind of wrap this up?
Just like all those extras in the courthouse scene? Or, like, just like...
What I can only describe as a lack of enthusiasm from the script for its own story.
But, I mean, you will... in the premiere of season 4, I'm going to tell you, you're going to see a lot of money on screen. A lot. Like, more than we've ever seen in this show.
Interesting.
Yeah. Season 4, they go in the opposite direction of this season. We'll talk more about it later, but I love season 4. A lot of people didn't like it because it really leans into the silly.
I like the silly.
I know. I love the silly. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with season 4, and I'm excited about it.
So am I. All right, so Jonathan exposes Jor-El's deception. Jonathan tells Clark that Kara is really Lindsay Harrington, a girl who disappeared on the day of the meteor shower. Clark refuses to enter the fissure. Jor-El dissipates Kara, explaining that she has served her purpose. Cold. I also love...
Jor-El is the straight-up villain right now.
Right.
Like, they they salvage it, but I don't think they ever addressed the time he incinerated a girl or whatever.
I think even I think even like they kind of tried to walk it back already with like, hey,
Right.
Clark, you're here to conquer the world. Oh, just kidding. That was a test.
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah.
like still like, anyway, I'm done with this girl, so I'm gonna fry her.
Yeah. And then I'm going to threaten to kill your father unless you come into this wall.
They should have just revealed, because it's Jor-El is of course the voice of Terrence Stamp, who played Zod, and they should have just revealed it's actually Zod.
Would have made more sense.
So then Jor-El strangles Jonathan with a rope of energy and threatens to kill him if Clark doesn't agree.
Energy ropes.
These fucking energy ropes, man. Despite Jonathan's pleas, Clark enters the light and disappears. Martha runs outside to see a Kryptonian symbol burned into the fields. The Sullivans enter protective custody, only to have their new house blown up as soon as they enter. Lionel has his head shaved bald in a scene they milk, and it's the best scene in the show.
It's fantastic. So all the things you described, and also Lex getting poisoned, take place during a montage while Lionel's getting his head shaved and opera music is playing. And it's fucking fantastic.
It's great. Oh, that beautiful man of hair.
I don't think you remember this because you blocked this movie out of your memory. But I saw it in theaters. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Don't remember a damn.
And at the end of that movie, there is an almost identical scene where Lex Luthor in prison gets his head shaved off.
Boy, howdy.
I think there might even be opera music playing. And I saw that and I go, they got that from fucking Smallville. I wonder if it's in the wiki notes. It might be because it's that similar. I bet you could go on YouTube and find a mashup or something.
Wow.
Of the two scenes.
I will maybe pull up that scene, but that is whoof. I do not want to.
It was done better here.
Yeah.
It was done better here. I'll tell you that right now. Also, not to spoil anything for our listeners, but I'm going to spoil something. Chloe didn't really die in the explosion.
What?
We'll find out in season 4. But if you watch that scene, there is no way she gets out before the bomb goes off. She literally closes the door, and as soon as that door is closed, the house explodes. So they're cheating. That's a little bit cheating by the Smallville people.
Right. That's just lying. You just lied.
Yeah, it's just lying. Yeah. You have to at least cut to a different shot, and then it blows up, and
right.
You can be like, time passed.
Right. That's like seeing a character get shot, die, have a funeral, and then go, nah.
No. We're still doing this show, I think. So.
Right. Let's see. Martha runs.
I do like the Godfather ending where like Lionel settling all these debts of kills Chloe, poisons Lex. Like Lex ends the season like on the ground writhing in pain as he's supposedly dying from being poisoned.
Yes.
It's good stuff.
Lionel has his head shaved bald. Lex chokes after drinking a glass of brandy, and Jonathan remains unconscious on the floor of the cave while Clark floats in a void, and Jor-El promises his son that he shall be reborn. And also, Clark is naked.
Did you notice that he is floating in a like the shape of the Superman symbol, and he is curled up into an S?
Did I notice?
Did you catch that subtle nod?
Did I need a telescope? Do I see that fucking billboard? And that's season 3. We did it. Another one in the bank.
Yeah, again, I thought very solid season in the second half. The finale wasn't great.
No.
But
not even,
I'm very excited. We're about to enter a few exciting parts of the show. One is they kind of move away from Lana Clark a little bit the first half of the next season, and it's like because they're introducing Lois.
Right.
And soon we get one of my favorite phases of Lionel. We're about to end the pure evil phase, and enter a new exciting phase of Lionel, which I love.
I can't wait to tackle it. Normally, so I'm looking at the featured music for this episode. Normally, our season finales are great needle drop episodes. We've got One Moment More acoustic by Mindy Smith, which I don't remember, and then the rest is Mozart. Like, meh.
Mozart. Meh.
Let's see here. Looking at notes here, this is the first season finale that doesn't feature Pete Ross. It will not be the last. So the scene where Clark and Kara fly together is highly reminiscent of the scene in which Superman and Lois first fly together in the Superman film. Okay, let's see here. The image of Clark trapped in the pocket dimension is a reference to the frequently seen pentagon shape of the Superman shield. Clark's body forms an S shape to complete the design. John Glover himself submitted the idea for his head to be shaved for real.
Oh, really? Because I was wondering, I was like, he must have had a job on Broadway or something where he needed his hair shorter.
Which
because I'm like,
might
there's
still
no
be
way
the
they
case, yeah.
There's no way they shave that beautiful mane off otherwise.
I mean, unless he was like, I'm fucking sick of this. Do you want to put it?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I wonder if there was an element of like, because like I've had long hair before, and it's like it comes a time where like I'm done with this. Do you want to make it part of the show? Or
Right. Do you want to do this on camera or off camera?
Right. This episode marks the first time that Jonathan Kent visits Chloe at the Torch and asks for help. Will that happen again? Okay. The courier who delivers the key is played by Brandon J. McLaren. He is also known for his role as Jack Landers, the Red Power Ranger in Power Rangers SPD.
Oh, that's fun.
I don't know which
That's
Power Rangers
fun.
Power Ranger SPD is, but it's one of them.
While we're on the subject of that, there's one note I missed. So Clark gets that key in the mail, and then he goes to visit Lionel to be like, "What's this key?" And it's such a great shot because Lionel's sitting in his cell facing away from where Clark enters, and then Clark enters and is like, "What is this?" And the look on Lionel's face, the joy, like he knows he has him. Like he's like, you stupid kid. He's like, you just walking in here. He's like, I already gotcha. I gotcha.
He's so good. Here's a note here that made me laugh. The final note. Gabe Sullivan has no lines.
Yeah, he just walks into the house and smiles and gets blown up. There's no note about Batman v Superman, huh?
Let me see here in Illusions. Nope, I have nothing. Not me. I mean, we can add it.
Yeah, I think we should. I'm gonna post. I'm gonna find a video on YouTube. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it, Brian.
Well, I guess that's it for this episode. We'll be back next week with our season 3 wrap up. We can we'll talk about the best. We'll talk about the worst. We will crown MVP of the season.
Oh, it's a 2-horse race.
Do we give a? I think we have to. Do we give a nomination to Pete out of like?
That's some real Oscars shit.
The kind of nomination that everyone like knows he isn't gonna win.
You know what? He might win Best Freak of the Week in season 7. That might be his chance to win an award.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh man.
This has been the Talon Mix Smallville Recap Podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. I guess that's everything. Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Is season 4 gonna fucking rock?
Good night, everybody. Oh no, it's on a loop.
That's how much season 4 is gonna